back to the Michigan Business Beat, brought to you on the Michigan Business Network. Chris Holman here from something other than our downtown studios in Lansing, Michigan. But a lot of this is done remote. And of course, our nature is to kind of be on the road and do things remote. And we're going to spend great time right now with Matt Anderson. Matthew is the CEO of Leadership Coaching for Results. And Matthew, it's always good to spend time with you. How you doing?
I'm doing wonderful. Thank you for having me here today. It's great to be with you.
You know, we're going to get into some of your accomplishments and some of the things you have out there in the marketplace right now, but let's talk a little bit about you, first of all, and maybe your career path.
Yeah, thank you. So I spent about a decade in restaurants, came back to Lansing area 10 years ago to rebrand a heating and air conditioning company. I was really proud to have the opportunity to do that. While doing that, I took the Dale Carnegie course, and that set a whole trajectory for me that ended up being a massive part of really where I am today, where I was recognized in 2019 as their #1 corporate trainer in the world. And simultaneously, I got 2 graduate degrees, one in conflict management and one in my MBA. And that led to my master's thesis, which led to my book. So it's been just a whirlwind of incredible, really cool things that I've had the opportunity to do.
And this is, you went through it in 30 seconds there, but this is over how long a period of time? Maybe 5 years?
The whole thing, that was about, that's a 10-year window that took place. I've been in the development space now, working with folks, leadership coaching and so forth for about 9 years.
All right. So great spot and great place to spend your time. Tell us about your leadership company and exactly what that is and what that does.
Thank you. Yeah. So during COVID, I opened my own business. I saw the opportunity to serve clients all over North America. I also saw that there were a couple key pieces that were assumed in development work, that people automatically understand what empathy means. And conflict is something that we really don't teach folks how to deal with. And there was a report I was actually just reading that said about 40% of a manager's time is spent on conflict. And so all that really has led to the focuses that I have on helping folks really bridge from management to leadership and the behaviors of leadership, motivating, inspiring, and empowering people, and really seeking to understand them, to respect them, and to work together in spite of our differences.
You know, I have to confide in you. I have always said to myself, you need to write a book called A Little Empathy, Please. And it is so important. But this is the difference between a dreamer and a doer. You actually did it. And so congratulations on that. So the leadership piece, I've seen a great deal of change. I mean, there was a time in my life when leadership was the guy on top who everybody in the company knew everything. And so they didn't question him a lot, kind of the guy who held the flag and took him over the hill.
Yeah,
that has changed quite a bit.
It's dramatically different now. And one of the things that I've been following engagement research since 2003, and we saw it kind of peak in 2018, where it was the best it had ever been, and then it plummeted as a result of COVID. And there's no real statistical information on that now, but we can very safely assume with the Great Resignation in full swing that engagement is through the floor. And there's actually a neuroscience reason for that that's really fascinating. What it is there's an empathy deficit in our culture right now. That's what research is now proving with the Great Resignation, is that folks are resigning over an empathy deficit from their manager. And what's cool, or interesting rather, is that isn't a surprise, because where empathy resides in our brain is the exact same location that gets overwhelmed when we're dealing with stress. And COVID was persistent stress that has really handicapped all of our ability to demonstrate empathy the way that we're typically able to. So that, you're absolutely right. A little empathy is something we all need more of right now.
Well, it's kind of interesting. That's a very human nature. You just kind of put it in the back when there are other things to deal with,
Yeah.
Which is the main problem with leadership, who puts out fires instead of working on the company. So let me ask you, this led you to your book. Let's talk about your book, which is There Is No Such Thing as Right or Wrong.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. Yeah. So this book came out earlier this year, and it was my master's thesis. Really, it's focused on dyadic conflict, two-sided conflict, particularly perpetually topical. So one of the topics that I thought was kind of shelved and maybe not even worth exploring is abortion. And clearly that has become topical all of a sudden again. So the whole concept is, if two people are on opposing sides of any issue, it's not because one is good and one is bad, or one is smart or one is dumb. It's because both individuals have had different experiences that have led them to different opinions about how they see the world. So instead of damning each other and saying you're wrong, what we should rather do is say, I don't understand. How did you get to that? Help me understand. Oh, well, I still don't agree, but now I understand why you believe that, so I can respect why you believe it. And with that, we can work together even though we don't agree. That's the whole premise of the book.
It's kind of interesting because I had a relationship with Stephen Covey, and one of the things I loved about him was the phrase, seek first to understand and then to be understood. This speaks right to what you're talking about.
It truly does. It truly does.
So major conflicts that are there, what do you see as maybe the top one or two that management deals with?
Yeah, so the biggest one that I typically see is folks making a lot of beliefs or assumptions or things that they think are true, but not actually taking the time to ask their employees what's really important to them. So to your point previously about CEOs on the top and how that used to be the case, now we're really leading up, we're leading sideways, and it all comes down to communication, conversation, and really seeking to understand one another. And when we do that, we'll have that greater respect and we'll be able to work together. And that's really going to transform the conflict in our lives into collaboration and make our world a happier and more fulfilling place.
It's amazing. You got to underline communication in there because that is absolutely one of the pinnacles of where this all pivots. Matthew Anderson, CEO of Leadership Coaching for Results, and also author of There's No Such Thing as Right or Wrong. Thanks for spending time with us and keep up the good work. We need better leadership.
Thank you so much, Chris. Appreciate being with you.
All right. You're watching the Michigan Business Beat on the Michigan Business Network. I'm Chris Holman. We'll be back with more.